Shanti. Om Shanti is the soundless chant of the universe. It is at the very heart of each soul. From this deep peace, my inner being can blossom fully. And this magical energy of peace moves throughout my spirit. I am able to tread lightly through the landscape of life, always aware of the endless beauty of each moment. Peace, I embrace you. Peace, I absorb you. Peace, I am you.
The heart cannot beat without pauses for peace. It would be a heart in trauma if it did. So what could happen if we paused for peace? What would happen if we took inspiration from the beating heart and found moments of inner peace? In these times, we have begun to realize the potential of peace, the impact of peace amongst the noise.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om means I am, is the sound from within, and right at the very start of the organization in what today is Pakistan, at that time in the province of Sindh, the United India, they would chant Om, I am. And of course, when I say I am, the experience that I have of the inner being is that of peace. And so Om Shanti began there, right at the start of the organization. And today we use the word Om Shanti as a greeting. Hello and goodbye and how are you? And for me, it's a beautiful signal to turn inwards and find that peace that lies within the inner being and to experience that just in a very simple way within a moment. It's like pressing a button and instantly there's a feeling of that inner peace.
So what Om Shanti means for me is sort of a reminder of, who you are. I think we forget that, like living in London, for example, you get caught up in all this stress, this fast-paced life. And I think Om Shanti is that reminder just to like stop and just take a second, just come back to who you are. I think as human beings, we forgot, our greatness and, that we're inherently good, and peace is our nature, it's our natural state. But I think because we're so caught up in everything that's going on in the world, that we sort of lose that. I remember there was a meditation in the Brahma Kumaris where one of the elder sisters was actually chanting Om Shanti. And the way she done it and the way the atmosphere changed was just like phenomenal. So yeah, there's definitely power in that word, Om Shanti, and yeah, I think it's generally just a beautiful term to kind of just remind you who you are.
The phrase Om Shanti is very healing. Basically, Om, I am, I the being, so recognizing the being that I am, and Shanti means peace. And I hear the words Om Shanti every day, and I use them every day. We use it as a greeting. But when I say those words, it really brings back to me who I am. And I may have got caught up in, you know, whatever it is I'm doing. And then Om Shanti, it's like a pause. It's like a breath. It's actually like a breath of fresh air. And it helps me to recharge.
It's weird, isn't it? Because like the English translation is peace, right? Like, but it doesn't mean it's like something that it's like bring it down. Do you know what I mean? For me, it's like just bring it down. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's that, yeah, like, you know, come closer to being Zen. Do you know what I mean?
I'm here in North London. I live in this area, and this is 10 minutes from my home, and it's a beautiful park. It's nice to come over here and sit down, and I can touch a point within me where I know is peace. It's a wonderful thing to be at peace with yourself, even if it's only for 2 or 3 minutes, and you realize how very fortunate you are.
Being Om Shanti is to recognize the potential for goodness in all people and every situation. To operate from the heart and have supportive thoughts and feelings, rather than opinion and blame.
There are so many things that I think have been transformational for me in this study and in the practice of Raja Yoga meditation. I think the main one, if I can think about main one, is about the sense of who I am and why I am here in this world right now. So a sense of the self, the truth about the self, and my purpose in a very practical way, a really practical way that actually impacts my day-to-day life.
And we use it in different, at least I use it in different ways, Om Shanti. And when you can't do anything else, Om Shanti, that's it, enough. So sometimes you use it in different ways, meaning full stop to that now, don't put any more energy there. But it always is about that pause. And I think that there just isn't enough pause or reflection in society today. So people are very caught up, of course I'm generalizing, but people are very caught up in their emotions. And so that means reactions. And that means that we lose sight of who we really are. And so Om Shanti brings us back to that. Now, if we come back to that feeling of who we really are, then we begin to see with a different vision. And I don't see how healing can take place unless we come back to ourselves, unless we again
reinstate that experience of Om Shanti. We may not know the words. I'm using those words. Others may use different words, but it's coming to that experience of remembering who I am as a being and that my original nature is peace. And then that helps me to get a broader perspective, a clearer perspective. Also helps me to bring wisdom into my everyday dealings. And I really feel that that's so important. So that pause allows something deeper to come from within that I can then apply in my life. And I can then help others and uplift others through that. So I think Om Shanti is so vital.
Peace to me it's an internal thing first and foremost. It's a feeling of tranquility that isn't impeded by whatever's happening externally. I think there are multiple layers to it. I think, yes, there is an external piece and there is a feeling of bliss that comes when everything aligns perfectly. But the most important piece for me is the piece that underlies everything, underlies all the chaos and all of the emotions and the fear and the anger, that underneath that there is a still space and a space of light that we can always return to.
I love going to galleries. It reminds me that art is peace. Art is love. Art is life. Art is to give. I am peace.
How do I sustain peace? Over the years, I've developed myself as a creative person, and so going into imaginative spaces was one way of sustaining peace. And as I got older, and especially with the insight of Brahma Kumaris, the ability to meditate and sustain peace that way was again how I've developed sustaining peace over time. So meditation, I would say, is quite a wonderful way to carve out a little time for myself and be all right with that, and look over how I'm feeling and check how I'm feeling and make this connection in this knowledge that there was something greater than me that was overseeing.
My first experience of peace that I can remember was a really long time ago. It was probably when I was about 9 or 10. And I remember it vividly. I was just running across a field. I was actually playing football at the time. There was a football game going on, and I was quite good at football, and I enjoyed it. It was actually just a feeling of joy, of freedom, really. I felt incredibly free. And it seems strange to say you feel peace when you're running energetically across the grass, down the wing, actually, I think it was, anticipating someone to pass the ball at me or whatever it is. So there's a lot going on, but yet I just felt joy, freedom, and really peace. And you feel a wonderful sense of peace, even though you may be in total action. You may be moving, you may actually maybe thoughts going across your mind. When I was running across that field as a child, I'm sure I was thinking, are they going to pass the ball to me or whatever, all those thoughts, but they were taking place very much in the background. So that's really my first experience of peace that I can remember.
It's easy to have, or it's easier, I think it's hard, but it's easier to have that when things seem peaceful around you. But I think the real test for me has been sustaining that when there are challenges. And I do that through personal practices, but also through living life in alignment with values, things like love and respect and humility. And sometimes I think the way to sustain it as well is just by, I've been thinking about this a lot, remaining open to the world and remaining receptive to all of the ways in which everything in life can teach you. And I think that for me actually is the really key thing, is remaining open, because peace is always there. It's always underneath, even if it feels elusive. It's always there. And so as long as we remain open to it, we can always find it.
We are Om Shanti. You are Om Shanti. But life easily pulls us away from that. We get caught in the big and small webs of peacelessness. We forget about peace. Over the past 50 years, students and friends of the Brahma Kumaris have been practicing, being, and living Raj Yoga meditation, the Om Shanti way.
You know, sometimes it's not as easy as you think to tap into that Om Shanti way. Sometimes it just feels like, what is the point? But what I like today is when I'm in one of those moments and I have the awareness that, oh, you're about to lose it. This is not who you are. Remember, that's who you used to be. You're wiser now, Pearl. And then, even though I'm having to have a strong message, a strong conversation with somebody, my intention, I hold on to peace, Pearl, because what you ultimately want from this situation is peace. So you can be responsible for how you choose to respond at this time. You can't be responsible for how the other person responds, but you have choice, and you can be responsible, and you can choose to speak, share, give your point from a place of peace. So for me, it's always about the Om Shanti way.
My response is my responsibility. There's power in that. There's healing in that. And perhaps all we need are tools that help us to remember, reassess, and respond.
Om Shanti is something that can be practiced by anyone across the world, no matter what their background, language, culture, or tradition may be, because Om is I am, and Shanti is my natural state of being. And if I keep coming back to that essence of who I am as that spiritual being and hold on to that identity, I can tap into the inner reservoir of treasures that I carry within myself, because coming back to peace opens the door to love, to truth, to joy, to purity. All these treasures are the treasures of the inner being, and anyone in any part of the world, of any age and background, can experience this very, very quickly. And so, yes, I think it's something that's needed at this moment where there's total chaos. Now, at this time of chaos, if people can experience a moment of peace, it can point them in the right direction.
Where there's love, there's peace. And you can say when there's peace, where there's peace, there's love. They're really two sides of the same thing, not even two sides of the same thing. They both reflect the same thing. And I think what they're reflecting really is connection. It's interconnection. It's a sense of oneness with everyone, everywhere. And I think that's what one's feeling when one feels love. I'm talking about a pure love. That's what one's feeling when one's at peace. The experience I described earlier about running across a field as a child, I think that feeling of peace has a lot to do with just a feeling of being connected. Not even without an idea of connected to what, but just being connected to everything, just being part of it.
As I go about my daily life, I pause for a moment and breathe. The pause creates a space. The breath slows my thoughts down. The rush of thoughts relax, and I dip into a reservoir of peace. A quiet coolness begins to surface, easing away any tension. My heart expands, and a deep sense of peace emerges. I am calm. I am present. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti for me in this moment in time, it's evolved over the years, but this moment in time, I would have to say it's quite a deep meaning, but I'll explain myself. So for me, it's finding the calm in chaos and understanding there is limitless peace. What I mean by that is we are all always on the move. We have a busy lifestyle, whether we're single, whether we're married, whether we have kids, you know, whether we're a CEO, we are always on the move. Remembering that around that chaos, you are the one that can bring calm is key. So every time I say Om Shanti, to me, I'm saying, okay, I'm in a very busy room, just breathe and drown it out, and remember it's just you. So that is where my definition of Om Shanti is right now. It's understanding there is limitless peace around. You have to be able to draw it from yourself.
What sustains peace in my life is it's a daily connection with that experience of peace. So meditation for me is not a one-off. It's something that you need to nurture. It needs to be part of your daily life, of your daily practice. And I don't mean practice just the time that you're meditating, and that's the beauty of the Raj Yoga meditation of the Brahma Kumaris, is that it is so practical in your daily life. You know, I'm very busy. I have lots of meetings every day. I have, you know, a ton of things that I have to do, emails, meetings, gatherings, you know, speaking. And to be in that peace as I do that gives me a lot of clarity of mind. It helps me in my decision making, and it helps me in my interactions with others, especially when there is tension. That is incredibly helpful in a very practical way.
Our aspiration today, and over several decades, has been to help people reinvigorate their lives with the Om Shanti way. Ultimately, it is a way of life. It is a movement and a path to inner peace, to outer peace. It looks different for us all, because we are all different. The Om Shanti way celebrates those differences. It supports the recognition of inner peace and encourages you to make peace a reality.
Gradually, things became easier. More and more people came to join Raj Yoga, and we had quite a solid group by then. Maybe in London, about 150 to 200 people, and a very large number across the UK and across the world. By then, we had centers in about 60 countries. Dadi Janki was amazing. She had trained teachers, and they had gone across to so many parts of the world to share these ideas, and local people everywhere had taken up the teachings.
And when I arrived at the center in London and I met the sisters, I could see in their faces, I could see something completely different in their faces, in their vibrations, in their demeanor. And I can only describe it as an incredible peace that came out of a purity. And I could see that they were experiencing. It wasn't just a belief system. So that impression was so attractive to me on my journey that I really want to experience too. I really want to convert this just knowing and believing into a deep internal experience. So My first impression was really, these people are really experiencing something spiritual.
I suppose I could loosely use the word generosity. I was struck by their generosity. But of course, where I entered the picture, that was the only way that I could see it. In other words, I did not realize yet the depth of the generosity, the scope of the generosity from which they were operating, and wherein what I later came to realize was the utter selflessness that there was in the sisters. I was also appreciative of the fact that knowing that my leanings were towards Eastern philosophy, and so the authenticity of the fact that the teachers were from India, I really appreciated. That would have been, and along with that, maybe even before that, having been a seeker and, you know, done hatha yoga and looked at various other spiritual religious enterprises, the assumption that the teacher, when I would find such, would be a male. And so it was perhaps a little bit of a surprise to find, although I knew they weren't gurus, but to find this quality of spiritual authority and mastery in women. That would have been my initial impression.
And so when in December 1985, we heard that the United Nations were going to be honoring 1986 as the International Year of Peace, we thought that, well, people know about peace in terms of activism and fighting for peace, but there's actually another way, and that is through inner peace, which Raj Yoga teaches. And so a group in Australia came up with the title, Million Minutes of Peace. And then people from across the world came together to create this program that then became a Million Minutes of Peace appeal. And it immediately sparked interest in so many people. And we had Lord Ennals, who of course has passed away now, but he headed up our committee together with the Assistant Secretary General of the United Nations, Dr. James Jonah. And so the two of them held the committee, which was around the world, an international committee, and then we had a national committee, and the response was just fabulous. We collected over 1 billion minutes of peace. And this became the largest non-fundraising project by the United Nations. And of course, this was dedicated to that year, and the Brahma Kumaris received 7 Peace Messenger Awards, an international one for Mount Abu, and 6 others across the world, including the UK. And so people wanted to give something of themselves, and giving your time is something very precious. And so to give your thoughts in prayer, or your thoughts in meditation, or just positive thoughts is something we were asking for. And so it triggered people's imagination. Schools and their assemblies had it. Companies stopped for a minute of silence. The Conservative Party, the Labour Party, and at that time the Liberal Party, in September they always have their party conferences. And so each and every one of them stopped for silence. So imagine 1,000 people in a party political conference all stopping for silence. But it had an incredible impact.
We had the launch of the Million Minutes of Peace Appeal in Trafalgar Square. And I don't know how we managed to do that. And we managed to have a hot air balloon in Trafalgar Square. And somehow I wasn't actually present, but the people involved in this particular part, they'd gone to the government, they'd gone to a particular minister, and somehow he said yes to them. You can have this hot air balloon in Trafalgar Square. And of course, it only went up a little way. But the thing is, it got snagged on Nelson's column. And so that was the end of the balloon. It came. So, you know, all these sorts of things happened because we really had very little experience. And then we had the peace bus that toured around. And, you know, it's interesting. We're all from different backgrounds and different professions. You know, we come to the Brahma Kumaris. And, you know, I guess you wonder when your talents could be of use. And when we were getting this bus, and it was very nice because it was renovated by an organization for the rehabilitation of offenders. So they worked on the bus, and it was a good project for them, which was a nice service, actually. And one of our brothers, I'd say, Naisha, he was a bus driver. And so when he heard about the bus, he immediately said, I can drive the bus. And it was like, you could see his excitement. And there was another person as well in Birmingham, Bachubai, who's a bus driver. And you could see their excitement because they thought, you know, when is this skill ever going to be of use? And suddenly this bus turns up. And so I really love to see the way everybody's talents get used, often in very unlikely ways.
Dip down, dip and down, dip and down. We're in there. Dip down, dip and down, dip and down. We're in there. Inside of who you are. Inside of who you are. Time has its own way to be. Gracious behavior is the savior. It seems to be inside of who you are. The sky is like a storybook with sand in your eyes. See the light, come and see the sunrise inside of who you are.
Let it go, release. Feel your heart return to peace. There's no need to be right. There's no need to be heard. There's no need to fight, just let it go. Make peace with your ego. Release. Feel your heart return to peace. Did you know that you can change your past? It starts with your thoughts. They come first, not last. Meditate, control your mind. Your seeds of discipline simply need watering. Nurture that power from within. Your thoughts are yours to create. Allow negativity to dissipate like the mystical breath of the cool breeze that glides its way through the leaves of all trees. You can be free. Love, peace, joy, wisdom, and purity. It's easy. That's who we're meant to be. Totally free. Not attached to these mental stories or clinging to this misshapen identity or longing for a false sense of security. Just let it go. Release. Feel your heart return to peace. Sit beneath a tree. Breathe in stability. Breathe out. Release it through poetry. The power to pack up wasteful thinking shall be your faithful servant. Allow your finite light to shine. You can be free.
I live from this divine sacred sanctum of quietness. I am aware that I am the owner of my peace of mind. I choose to honor this peace in every moment of my day. I choose to be before I do. I choose to make peace my offering to each soul I pass by.
For the Brahma Kumaris, peace has always been the strongest choice. And by working with others, with organizations and charities, with a whole cohort of social change makers, the Om Shanti Way is becoming a powerful voice and contributing to the world of peace.
If I think about the best thing that I can do for myself, and of course, whatever I can do for myself, I'll then also be able to do for others around me, but also the world at large. I can't give food to everyone. I can't give money to everyone. But what I can do for myself and for every single living creature on this planet is have nothing but pure good wishes. A feeling of benevolence, a feeling of generosity, a feeling of being part of one creation of the Supreme Creator, one family. If I can have good wishes for myself, then I'll make sure that I stay on track on the narrow path that's going to lead me in the right way. But also, I can make sure that those good wishes reach everybody and everything. Nature needs my good wishes at the present time. All living creatures need my good wishes. And so, yes, I can definitely do something for everyone just by having those pure, loving good wishes for absolutely everything. And if I can, first of all, experience peace within myself, then that's the foundation. That is my original state of being. So coming back to peace means that I generate pure thoughts, good wishes, benevolence for everything else, everyone else. And so, yes, peace is very much connected with having nothing but good wishes for all.
Deep within, there is thanks or gratitude to give respect and also express the inner feelings of goodness of other person that one has experienced. So when we are saying good wishes, sending good wishes, it's a very pure actually expression. But we have to check, are we actually at that time sending these good wishes? There's a question, will those good wishes reach to that person? Or even, for example, it's a mass, so many people are suffering through natural calamities or suffering through some kind of problems from relatives, from no matter what our problems are. It's a kind of collective situation. How will it reach that? It's not a packet that we can send. But because good wishes are very pure and subtle energy, it will reach definitely if I am selfless and truly at that time with honesty, with pure love, with open heart, with generosity, and without any expectations that I am giving, I should get some return. No, it's not a business. It's not an exchange either. It's an act of charity. But without having consciousness that I am giving, because love does not expect anything. Pure love gives without unlimited, selfless. But at that time, these vibrations are there, that feelings are pure. So how will it reach? It will reach only when I am embodiment of love, embodiment of love. When I am connected honestly with that person, or I am just wishing with a pure feeling of helping them. So this is kind of vibrations generated.
So what now? To belong to the community of peace means to choose Om Shanti. Our birthday gift to you is a wish that you are constantly able to make the choice to live the Om Shanti way with courage and confidence, because so many continue to see the fruit.
I am a cancer patient who has gone through some really challenging times, and good wishes have come as a vibration from friends, family, and settings that I've found myself in. And they really do have, those words have a vibration of well-being and this pushing out of a vibe that extends to the person. So being on the receiving end of good wishes, I think, has a healing energy where one really does extend their best intentions for somebody else. And in turn, when I project good wishes for someone or something that they're doing, is almost like a blessing and an extension of an energy that encompasses almost like a hug.
Passing through each scene of the grand theatre of life, I observe with compassion, with care, with love. I know that within every moment is a gift waiting to be unwrapped. What the eye cannot see, the heart knows. Releasing kindness and gentle thoughts of upliftment to each living being and to Mother Earth itself. To see the best in my fellow travellers along the great adventure which is the road of life. My spirit flies as my heart sees only the goodness in every soul.
And before we say, see you soon, we'd like to share a gift with you, something that we hope inspires you today, tomorrow, and in times to come. There will be something that you can hold close and use as a reminder to keep trusting the Om Shanti way.
It is empowering to be able to connect deeply and emerge those feelings of benevolence and good wishes for another and for the self, but also for the world, for nature, for everything. And the reason why it's powerful and empowering is that, first of all, you experience that, and that feeling of good wishes and benevolence is a very powerful inner feeling. And then secondly, it's empowering because when you're sending it to others, that energy that flows from you to others and to the world feels like in the middle of COVID, wars, violence, you are sending a different type of energy. The energy that you are contributing to the world, the energy that you are putting out there is not the same energy that is causing all these problems. And I think that is the power of good wishes.
I think it's really important to truly feel those good wishes for yourself. You can then pass them on to others, and people will notice in the way you are, your mannerisms, your eyes. They will see a genuine good wisher, rather than someone who just wants to hand out compliments all the time. So yeah, I'd say good wishes is about thinking in a good way, in a positive way, and then followed by actions as well, whether they are small or big.
They've shown that when you feel really sad, what's really helpful is helping someone else. And so good wishes to me kind of encapsulates that, this mentality of serving others, and in serving others, serving oneself. And both of those, actually, they're not juxtaposed, they work together. And so I think good wishes is key to that. If you wish others well, and I try to sort of spend time in that metta state of mind, that wanting to send love and goodwill to everyone, to my close family, to people I don't know, to people I may actively dislike, because cultivating that helps one stay open, and it helps me to remain receptive and to be guided by love. And so I think good wishes are absolutely key to cultivating that peaceful state of mind as well. You can't have one without the other.
We, of course, take flowers to others and send flowers, but the soul, our pure energy of self, is pure mind, clear intellect, selfless personality, benevolent consciousness. When the soul is becoming this kind of living flower, then these good wishes have wings and they reach the person. They touch their heart. What is given with the heart, accepted with the heart, or touches the heart.
I have a very naive wish for the world almost. It's a naive, but I am probably naive enough to think it's possible for us to really live in brotherhood and happiness, and to kind of go beyond all the labels that we use to classify each other, labels of nation, labels of gender, labels of, of profession, labels of wealth. Just going beyond all that and just live in brotherhood. I think we would be much, much happier with that. So I guess my wish is for happiness.
People can talk about positivity all day long. Be positive in the war. Everybody can be positive when everything's good. But you see people fall apart and start getting vexed, getting angry, swearing, this, that, hatred, blah, blah, blah. No, that's the time to be more at peace when it's going down. That's the time to be zen. That's the time to breathe, because then you can make really good decisions in those really difficult times. So yeah, I've been really lucky that I've been able to pick that up around the people around me. As I said, my family are in the Brahma Kumaris and what have you, like they just, you know, this is all very much about, you know, what is talked about, you know, in knowledge and what have you. So I picked up on these things. Luckily, for some reason, it resonated with me, and it connected with me, and it's fed into my day-to-day life. So yeah, that's the way I view best wishes.
In good wishes, I think there's an element of gratitude as well, because to wish well for other people, you have to take stock of the good things that you have and the beauty that the world does for you. So I think in my good wishes for the world would be a thank you, and a kind of yes, a gratitude to God for life and for love and for light and for strength as well. And I think that's what I would also send to the world, a good wish of strength, and a different kind of strength, I think, to maybe the strength that we value, a strength that is like water, that is flexible and gives freely and is loving in so many ways, but also is formidable and necessary. And I think that with that and with love, and yeah, I think that would help us to love each other in a different way. But I think that would be my sort of biggest good wish for the world, would be that we could all love each other.
A good wish arises from a pure feeling, a generous heart. It's a loving thought, a compassionate word. A good wish heals, a vibration that comforts and creates hope to move on. I step in and feel and let my thoughts be infused with goodness and emanate light. Om Shanti.